thanks for those guys who have made this. This is normally we run the lead generation masterclass as a Tuesday morning, 9:30 till around about 10. I've gone through this kind of remit of trying to add value and collaborate with more people who are doing great work in terms of lead generation, messaging, and recently started working with Jane. Jane's a Leadeth client of mine, and her track record is, it's incredible. She's, sold a 7 multi-million-pound business, and just want to tap into her experience. And so the stage is yours, Jane. Welcome. There's a few people on in the wings. If you want me to do any polls or extra things, then let me know and I can set those up. But I'll hand over to you to make a start.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, so I mean, before we get into it, I suppose I should just probably just let everybody know that my background is really as a brand marketer. So I did this for many, many years before I actually scaled and sold that brand identity business that you were referring to, Alex. So I began my career really in the creative environment in film and TV, and I ended up moving to a global advertising agency where I ran campaigns for various big global brands like British Airways, Coca-Cola, Discovery Networks, and ITV. So obviously, when you're working at a global level, the budgets are absolutely huge compared to most of the resources most of the people here. However, the interesting thing is that the same principles apply. And really the most important thing in terms of brand is actually to influence the perception in terms of your ideal audience so that they buy from you, as opposed to your rivals. That's really what brand marketing is all about. It's not about, just being good at social media or even about the campaigns that we're all creating on Leadeth. Those are tools and they're tactics and they're fantastic. But fundamentally, the task is to influence the perception of your ideal audience. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so I'll just get into it. If that's okay, Alex, get started. Okay, so welcome to the Message to Market Masterclass, where we're going to dive deep into the art of crafting compelling messages that resonate with your target audience. So in this masterclass, we're going to explore the key elements that make a message to market powerful, effective, and aligned with your ideal prospects' needs and desires. So what is a message to market is the first thing. So a marketing message is the language you use to communicate with your audience to convince them to do business with you. So whatever type of business you run, your message is extremely important and influential in terms of helping you meet your business goals, as it's really the $1 million difference between you winning new business or sending them running towards your rivals, which of course none of us want to do, right? And because of this, you need to craft it with extreme care for the audience that you're aiming to influence. So the important thing to understand is that the online environment is a cold environment. And what this means is that anyone can say anything, and people often do. So the inconvenient truth is that unless you do really, really well at crafting your message, your valuable product or service will be stacked up against others who have far less experience and actually very little to offer compared to you. And because your audience can't tell the difference, they'll end up choosing them over you too. And that's terribly unfair, I know, but that's just the way it goes. And I call this status and overlooked also ran. And fixing your messaging is the easiest way to go from this undesirable state to becoming the game-changing goldmine your dream clients choose first instead. Okay, so in our automation-heavy era, it's a big message to think that technology will remove the need for this all-important work. Technology is a pipeline to deliver your message. So however strong your use of technology, and I mean, we've got a fantastic platform here with Leadeth. If your message doesn't cut through, you'll be relegated to the also ran bucket alongside others who do something similar to you. So just to draw an analogy, think about a robot coming to clean your house. This might be reality in a few years' time, right? I mean, of course, you'd be very pleased to have a clean house and have the robot do its job. However, if you're working from home, it can get a bit lonely staring at a screen all day, as we all know. So when your non-conversational robot with the rotating brush head and pre-programmed task list turns up, you don't exactly feel thrilled to see him. Instead, when Sally, your trusted weekly cleaner, turns up with a big smile on her face, your dog's thrilled to see her. You exchange a few nice words. She gives the dog a treat, and you catch up with what's happening in her world. So she knows you. She knows the way you like things done. Your children like her. Sally means so much more to you than just a clean house. She's a trusted and valued member of your household. Now, I'm drawing that an analogy because that's what a personalized service looks like. And even though this example is fairly basic in terms of cleaning, it's exactly why attention and customization is always going to be preferable to a robot, even if the robot does a better job. And the way that you get that attention and customization, it all starts through the messaging. Okay, so the reason why I'm making this comparison, if we can go on to the next slide, Alex, there we go, is because you'll never take away our need for emotional connection. Now, according to a Harvard professor, Gerald Zaltman, who researched this topic and put the findings into his book, How Customers Think, Essential Insights into the Mind of the Market, connection starts in the subconscious mind. So while consumers typically report comparing multiple competing brands and price points when evaluating their purchase, his research indicated that this wasn't actually the case. He actually found that 95% of purchasing decisions were driven by emotion instead of logic. That's why by only selling the facts and the features of your product or service, you will generate poor results. And that's because you're completely missing the psychologically driven subconscious elements of the decision-making process. And the reason for this is that you may not be describing what you do in a way that's new and different. And if you don't do that, then you won't hit your dream clients' emotional triggers, particularly in the tricky online environment where audiences tend to be colder than they would in real life. Okay, so next slide. Okay, so of course we all know that it's much easier to engage your prospects face to face because you can immerse yourself, and so can they, in that full sort of 3D connection that meeting in person brings. You can get someone's full on attention when you meet face to face. You communicate through body language, which makes up 55% of communication. So when you take that face to face away, the 45% of interaction that is left has to work 55% harder to have the same impact. Hope that makes sense. And that's without factoring in the impact of multitasking, which is what a lot of people do when they're online. You may even be doing it now, right? So most find it far harder for all these reasons to navigate the complexities of the online space and deliver a message to market that cuts through with strength and power, especially where emotional triggers are concerned. Okay, so how do you trigger emotion is the next question. So think for a moment what's actually being sold in most product marketing campaigns. So luxury goods, let's say, fancy car, right? A nice handbag, expensive watch. They target our feelings of self-worth, acceptance, and status in the world. Communications devices, a new phone, laptop, they excite us because they're offering a connection to friends, family, and a broader network in business. Athletic brands inspire us by offering adventure and glory through the act of competing and winning. And products such as perfume, cologne, and lingerie target emotions related to love, relationships, and sexual desire. So as marketers of our own services, we still need to communicate the features of our offer, but we must also remember to sell the feeling that accompanies them. So the key is to highlight the emotional response that someone will achieve by buying into you. And in order to do that, it's important to identify your audience's primary pain, as we all know. So with my ideal client success program, for example, people will often be feeling as though the value of their service is being ignored and overlooked in favor of others who do something similar. And they've often poured their life's work and all their accumulated wisdom and experience into their offer, and they can't understand why they struggle to sell what they do when it's so good. Now, this struggle results in two types of pain. There's the extrinsic, which is the external, and the intrinsic, which is internal. So the practical or the extrinsic pain they experience can be described, for example, or one of them, as the boom-bust revenue roller coaster. Not enough people saying yes to what they do for them to generate a consistent pipeline of inquiries and, of course, revenue. And this then has consequences for their life, which causes intrinsic pain, and also their business, like financial stress, relationship stress, uncertainty, and the inability to plan for and live the life of their dreams. And they'll also be feeling unhappy, frustrated, unappreciated, and upset. And this is also because they know they deserve more. And so they'll have FOMO, or fear of missing out, because they realize that their dream clients are choosing to engage others rather than them. Now, the exact opposite of this is the golden outcome, which is usually always the opposite of this pain, because as one of my former mentors, Dr. John DeMartini, used to say, voids create values. In other words, your biggest pain or lack triggers your most important goal. And that's just a human universal rule. So therefore, the emotions that my clients are seeking are freedom, certainty, and safety. And these feelings are very closely associated with love and connection, because we're a social species, and when we feel loved and connected, we also feel safe. So my clients want to feel valued and appreciated instead of overlooked and ignored, and to have that validated by the money that's flowing consistently into their bank account. So you might be asking, okay, so how does this actually translate, Jane, into a message to market? So I'm just giving you an example. Okay, so this is something I might say is, your dream business is no longer a dream. Join a community of ambitious entrepreneurs who are committed to extraordinary success. Create irresistible offers that accelerate your value and activate your growth. Elevate your visibility, multiply your value, and build connections that last a lifetime. So even though I'm dwelling here on the, let's say that the promise or the upside, the thing that drives all of those statements is the pain that is underneath that. So you might not always want to lead with the pain, because people don't want to be told what they're doing wrong. It can feel a bit hurtful and personal if you prick it too hard. However, you will still have the same impact if you focus on the upside as well. Okay, so always remember, your message to market should address your prospects' pain points and present your business as the solution. Now, far too many business owners invest their time and energy developing communication that just talks about who they are and what they do. And remember that by itself, that won't be enough. To truly cut through, your message to market needs to speak to your prospects' pains, needs, and desires instead. And developing this will require you to think quite deeply about your target audience, and to define and call them out with laser clarity, and sincerely connect to the real rather than the imagined pain your prospects are facing. And that means that you have to know your prospects intimately rather than just guess what their struggle is. You've also got to be able to empathize with your pain. In other words, you can't just lecture them and tell them what your solution is and elevate yourself and put yourself in a sort of one-up position. You actually have to engage emotionally, almost like a method actor, rather than behaving like somebody who's on the outside looking in. And finally, you have to find your difference when compared to others who do something similar, and develop messages that sound fresh, exciting, and unique to you. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is your unique selling proposition. So a very important aspect of your message to market. Oh, there's a bit of, I don't know whether somebody's got, is not on mute. There's a bit of interference in the background. Okay, that's better. Okay, so another important aspect of your message to market is defining your unique selling proposition, or USP, to highlight the distinct advantages of your offering. And your USP is going to answer the question that potential customers might have, which is, why should I choose you over others? Now, remember, there is an endless choice available online. You are not in an offline environment where perhaps you're in a room and you might be one or two of you that do something similar. Essentially, your competition is available at the click of a button. So this has to be communicated very, very clearly. And your unique benefit, or USP, has to be not easily replicated by competitors. So a well-crafted USP typically focuses on one or two key factors that resonate with your target market. So with a service-based offer, which I guess most of your clients have, Alex, this could arise in many different ways. It could come from your personal history, experience, and professional story. It could be about the way that you use technology. It could be those little unexpected extras when it comes to customer service, or the specific way that you address a customer need or pain point. So the overall goal of your message to market is to create a memorable and persuasive impression that resonates emotionally, positively influences purchasing decisions, and establishes a strong and relevant identity for you. And that's really, really important for businesses to differentiate themselves and build a competitive edge in their marketplace. Okay, so that's it really. So congratulations on completing the Message to Market Masterclass. So armed with the knowledge and strategies discussed, you're now equipped to start creating a powerful message that resonates with your audience and drives meaningful connections. So remember, effective communication requires an ongoing process of adapting and refining. So stay in touch with your market, embrace the feedback, and continuously evolve your message to stay ahead in today's dynamic and very competitive online business landscape. Okay, so that's it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jane. That was fantastic.
You're welcome.
Let's open up the room to a bit of discussion now around that. Thanks for those that have joined in with us. Just going to switch the view to a gallery mode so we can all see each other, hopefully. Yeah, so any kind of questions as to Jane, really, on the back of this thinking? Go for it, Bev.
Yeah, thanks, Jane. That was great. And it's funny, isn't it? Because I do a similar thing, but I can't do it for myself. It's like doctors don't heal themselves.
Oh, definitely. We're always too close.
Yeah. I was really, the thing that got me was that thing about not leading with the pain, when it's about, so the message really is about what the outcome is, so that they can see that rather than that beginning bit. Have I got that right?
Yeah. So, I mean, look, we don't have to do that. There are times when it, obviously the message to market is not, it's not just what we do on Leadeth. It's not just how we formulate our social media posts. It's basically everything. We're talking about business all the time. So we're talking, we're having conversations. We are having meetings. We're maybe putting together collateral and assets. So all of those things, there has to be a consistent message that goes out, and there will be times when we do want to agitate the pain. It's not a never. It's just somebody's. Could everybody mute for the moment? I don't know if I can't mute people, but there's just quite a lot of interference. Maybe Richard, if you wouldn't mind muting, Richard. There we are. Okay, that's better. Right. So there are times when we will specifically want to address a pain and actually call it out. It really depends. But if we just leave with the pain all the time, then it can make our audience, it can make them a bit uncomfortable. We have to appeal to their dreams as well.
I get, especially the conversation things. I think that's where I was missing it. The conversations rather than the.
It's taking a while, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Jane.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anybody else? Otherwise, Alex and I we can talk, can't we, Alex? about
Okay,
this
see what
topic?
that helps.
I think we can hear you, Richard. You're on the call, but there's a little bit of noise with you. And hi to Victor who's coming in. For me, I guess the biggest thing was the let's just go back through the slides where you're talking about the trigger emotions.
Yeah.
I think that's something that clients wouldn't be thinking about at all. You know, what is that trigger emotion? And yeah, I completely get that now and see that. You know, for me, it very much is probably along the lines. Leadeth is probably going down that communication devices line, maybe connection, community, and togetherness.
Yeah.
So it's how do I kind of get that across in what we're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you know, for anybody that has any form of community, we crave connection. It's very, very important. We don't like to be alone. We humans, we're like pack animals. I often think with my dog, you know, we want to be together. It's very painful for us to feel disconnected. So it's always a winner. Anything that talks about connection or gives people access to community, sharing, all of those things. It's something that everybody loves, unless they're a bit strange.
Yeah, so true. Yeah. Have you got any examples, Jane, of how a marketing campaign has how you've been able to really target that emotional response and that's led to a successful outcome, maybe?
Yeah, well, I mean, in terms of a campaign, I mean, I'm not running ads or anything at the moment. Obviously, what happens is there's a big divide, and I often say this to my clients, between, paid traffic, obviously, and organic. So with the paid traffic or anything that is evergreen, in other words, if you put it out there and people are going to consume it over and over again, it's going to work hard for you. And obviously here we are creating evergreen campaigns. So they're going to be hitting multiple different people every single day. So anything that it qualifies in that bucket needs at least 10 times more attention, at least 10 times, if not 100 times more attention than your throwaway social media posts, because those are going down the feed. And typically when people come to me, this isn't something they understand. So they'll put together, because, I do have some clients who they accessed our done for you services, or they get, they just have a budget to do that. But a lot of my clients, they are working by themselves and they do want to be equipped with these skills to produce their own resources. And so typically where they go wrong in the beginning, and I see this over and over again, is they approach a piece of evergreen content like they would writing a social media post or a newsletter. It's not going to work. I mean, literally, if I'm doing done for you, which I do as well, because we've got a funnel product that's called Chosen First, and that is something that I also work on the messaging and the copy for. So, I slave over it. I mean, every single word I think about, and I think about really hard. And I put something, obviously I've only just started using this Leadeth tool, but, I tried a campaign. I hadn't had fantastic results from it because it was just experimental, because that's what you do in the beginning. What do? Change it immediately. Then you try something different, and you just try and you try and you try with something like this until, you are getting those consistent responses. So anything evergreen that you put out, you'll put something out in the beginning. It needs to be very, very carefully formulated with really powerful, strong messaging. If you don't get the results from that, it's a living, breathing thing. It's not set and forget. You have to go back and you have to know if you're not getting the response that you need, and then you have to try something different. And that's just the way it goes. So that is really like message to market mastery is something that you do in conjunction with your market. When you see what's kind of coming back, you want them to be saying, yes, 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 I like this. That's interesting. Let's jump on a call. All of those things. If that's not happening, it's your responsibility. It's not because you haven't got a good service, because 100% you have. It's because it's in the messaging. Well, that's my view anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And towards the end of your presentation, Jane, you spoke about the the intrinsic and extrinsic pain points of your audience.
Yeah.
What tools or methods maybe have you used in the past to really accurately identify what that might look like for a market? It'd be certainly something I think people might be interested in knowing.
Yeah, so I mean, look, it's always a good idea to do, to have some tools. So you can obviously do polls. I've done a lot of polls. I mean, haven't been doing a lot recently, but generally that's been very interesting on social media. So online, obviously, you can just ask people. You can ask people questions. You can also go and see what, do some work on your competitors and see what they're saying, what the comments are like below their posts, what people are responding to, resonating to, all of that kind of thing. Plus, also, you could do quizzes. I mean, I've got a scorecard. I think you've got a scorecard, haven't you, Alex?
Yeah, I don't really leverage it too much. It's an asset that I built and just played around with, but I need to market it and push it out there, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, likewise, my scorecard is not, again, it's not a set and forget. If you're going to take on that scorecard strategy, so I think you use ScoreUp, I use ScoreUp. This is a Daniel Priestley thing. It's really that there's a misconception in the marketplace that automation is going to, all of a sudden, it's going to free up a load of your time and it's going to do all the work for you. And yes, of course, when you get it right, it does. But the process of actually getting it right and getting it to work for you is, it just takes some time. I mean, the other thing that I have obviously is my own funnel, so the Chosen First funnel. And I just love that because essentially it takes the customers on a journey. So it's about a 10-day, my one personally is a 10-day client attraction campaign. So once people opt in, they are sent a load of stuff. They're sent videos. There's about 4 videos and they're delivered to them sequentially over a number of days. That's my own personal one. The one that we do for clients is a little bit simpler, but essentially that there are 3 videos in there, and one of them is what I mean, technical terms, an indoctrination video is basically, telling them about, well, it's using some of this deep psychological messaging. It really is, in order to get them excited about what you do. And then there's another video that is basically, thank you for booking a call. This is when they book a call. This is what you're going to do. And the first video is an invitation to download the free report. So it's all put into a funnel. So literally all you have to do is send them to that one link, and then the system does the work from there on in. So that is something that, I'm pretty passionate about the power of funnels. But again, as I said, it's a living, breathing thing. And some of my clients, I've got a client that has just started here who's done one of these funnels through me. I've got another client who just finished a funnel with, and he wants to do 2 more. And, when they're launched, it is just, you're just putting something early into the marketplace. So, that's it really. The message is tweak and adjust according to the feedback you're getting from your marketplace.
Yeah, just the importance of that face-to-face as well was quite key. Video is a great platform which is super emotive, and you're there in it with them. So for kind of supercharging your campaigns, then the video campaigns kind of help to get better acceptance rate and reply rates is what we find with the when clients use that.
Yeah, and I haven't done that myself yet. I would like to do it. I actually have an issue with video. I personally hate doing video because I love writing. I'm just passionate about writing. I love reading. I'm really like a wordsmith. That's my thing. Other people, and I think particularly the younger generation, they're much more they're much more used to learning through video. So we, as you said, Alex, we have to understand that, video has a lot more impact than the written word. And you do need to leverage it, but you need to leverage it in the right way and not just be boring and sound like a robot. And because that's going to have the other effect, isn't it? The wrong effect.
Well, any further questions from anyone else at all? All good. Well, thank you so much, Jane.
You're welcome.
It's been really, really helpful. Just to
Hello.
Richard.
Is that Richard?
Yes, it is. Yes. First, apologies for being late. My wife and I planned to just clean out 3 hamster cages, which unearthed a whole bunch of other chores that we thought we were going to complete in quicker time than we did. But nonetheless, I got, if you like, maximum value out of just the last few sentences that you said. So you don't know which seeds are going to germinate, but that thing that you said about USP, and then put it in the whole kind of context of a relationship. I've got some serious takeaways from this. So there you have it. It was worth coming on for just the time that I had. So thanks.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I mean, the thing is, obviously, I've been doing this for a really, really long time, and so I really appreciate that feedback. So, over time, you kind of learn what works and what doesn't work. And obviously, working with my clients all the time on their assets as well, because that's what we're working on. We're actually building them assets. I'm not just teaching them messaging. I'm helping them develop a unique messaging and language system and put it into their assets. So, I see it all the time where people go wrong, how to get it right, really. And it's not easy. It isn't easy. If it was a quick tip or hack, that'd be great. We'd all be running like 7-figure businesses that are scaling rapidly, right? So, up to 8 figures in 3 months. Why not? Yeah.
Well, I want to say thank you to Jane. It's been brilliant. I've learned a lot. And if you want any help with the video, let me know, because I'm a talker, not a writer.
Oh, really? Okay.
I do speak it. I hate writing. I speak. Oh, really? But no, I've got so much from this from a personal point of view in terms of my messaging and seeing where I'm going wrong. So I'm really glad I joined today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, glad to have created value.
Yes, brilliant.
Yeah.
Jane, where can people find out more about kind of your involvement, your programs? I've shared your kind of Zoom link in the chat, but just if somebody's not quite ready for a call yet and just wants to learn a bit more, where should they go to?
Yeah, so my website is probably the best place to start. Obviously, my LinkedIn profile, but my website is very easy to access. It's www.janebaylor.com. Or you can email me at jane@janebaylor.com. So that's, I like to make it easy.
That's great. And it should come up something like this.
That's it.
There we go. janebaylor.com. So check it out when you get a moment.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to find out about the funnel, because that is actually a done for you product as well. Obviously, it's a little bit more expensive than it's usually an upgrade from my program. But if people just want a funnel and they feel as though, they fix their messaging, they're making sales, they know what their business is all about, but they just want to take it to the next level in terms of creating an asset, then I'm happy to chat about that and send them some info on that as well.
We're reconnecting again.
Perfect. Great.
All right.
Well, thanks everyone. Our next lead gen masterclass is back to the usual Tuesday morning session. We've then got a Tuesday afternoon next week as well, so a double helping next Tuesday. So thanks very much. The extra special session next Tuesday is on. So we're back into the email marketing sequence Tuesday morning, and then in the afternoon we've got another guest speaker, and that's a lady called Olivia Smith, no relation to me, talking on unique you, which is all about adding your own personality and uniqueness into what you're doing. So excellent. Thanks, Jane, once again.
You're very welcome, and see you all again soon.
Bye.
Lovely, thank you.